Okay, so let's start with this question. All these questions are simplify. So simplify minus 14x squared y divided by 7xy. If I break these into factors, x squared is just x times x. So everything is joined by multiplication signs. 7xy is 7 times x times y. This makes it easy to see that 7 is a factor on top and on the bottom, so we can get rid of it. We can divide through by x and divide through by y, so they're all cancelled. What do we have left? We just have minus 2x left. It's divided by 1. If there's nothing left on the bottom, don't divide by 0. It's divided by 1, so negative 2x. All right, let's try another one. So if we had negative 15 pq squared all over 30 p squared q squared. Okay, again, we could break it into factors, or you could just see that everything is joined by times. So if there's q times q, or q squared at the top, and there's q times q, or q squared at the bottom, we can cancel that straight away. Here we've got a p, and at the bottom we've got p times p. So we can cancel one of them from the bottom. So 1p there. And we know that negative divided by a positive is a negative, so we can put that there straight away. 15 over 30, well, there are two 15s in 30, so we're breaking 30 into 15 times 2 and cancelling the 15. So the only thing left on the bottom will be the 2p. And on the top, the 15's now gone, so it's just negative 1. Okay, next one. So what if we have something like this? 4x plus 8 divided by 4. Now you notice that the numerator is not all joined by times, so we need to change that. We always factorize each part, the numerator and the denominator, first if it's not already factorized. So you can see both these terms, 4x and 8, have a factor of 4 in them. If I take a factor of 4 out, I have 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times positive 2 is 8. Alright, so I'll rewrite the denominator. So now you can see that it's all joined by times. We have 4 times that bracket, and this is just a 4, so common factors cancel, and we have x plus 2 left over. Let's try another one like that. So 6x take away 4x squared over 2x. So again, if you look at the top, it's not all joined by multiplication, so we need to factorize. The denominator is already fully factorized, it's joined by times. So here, what do these two terms have in common? You will note that both of them have an x in them. This one has x squared, which is an x times x, but they at least have an x in them, so I know the x is going to come out. They also have a 6 and a 4, which is, they're both divisible by 2, so there's a factor of 2 out the front. Now 2x times what gives me 6x? 2x times 3 gives me 6x. 2x times what gives me negative 4x squared. So I need a minus to get a negative. I need a 2 to get the 4, and I've already got an x, so I need x times x to get the x squared. It's a nice question. Common factors of 2 and x. 2 and x. So what do we have left? 3 minus 2x. Okay, so let's get into the more difficult ones. So now we have something like, we're going to have two terms, two fractions, something like this. Alright, so if you look, yes, this is joined by a multiplication sign, but this has a plus in it and this has a plus in it, so this numerator definitely needs to be factorized. Now this is already fully factorized, so I can put brackets around it, just one lot of n plus 2's. Alright, Now, because there's a times, we can actually put everything together. So, if I factorise the numerator here, I have 2 lots of m plus 2's. This is already factorised here, and you can write it right next door, or you can keep the times in it, doesn't matter. This is already fully factorised. This is already fully factorised. There's nothing more we can do, and they're joined by a times. So you'll notice now that m plus 2 is common to both, m is common to both. So the only thing left is 2 on 1, so our answer will be 2. All right, let's do another one. b minus 1 on 10 times 5 on 1 minus b. It's a bit of a trick here. These two almost look the same. We need to factorise one of them by a -1 in order to make them look the same. So let's do that too. Let's keep this top one like that, so it's fully factorised. We've got a 5, it's fully factorised already. We have a 10 here. And here we're going to factorise by -1. So we're just pulling out a -1 from here. I'll do it over here so you can see. So 1 minus b is the same as -1 times what gives me 1? Well, that's just -1. -1 times -1 gives you 1. -1 times positive b, sorry, running out of room, gives you a -b. So this is just another way of writing 1 minus b. So if I write that here, I've got a -1, so I'll put the -1 here, so it becomes -10. And in brackets, I've now got a positive b, so I'll write that first, and a -1. Remember, it doesn't matter what order you write those in, those two terms in. So now you can see there's a common factor of b minus 1. And we also know that 5 times 2 is 10, so the 5's are going to cancel, and there's going to be a -2 left. So I'm going to put that minus right out the front. This becomes -1/2. All right, that's part 1.